The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
You're listening to the House of Cards on Facebook, YouTube, and BigPatriotRadio.com. All licenses for music and content have been purchased by and are for the express written use of Big Patriot Radio Networks. All information, opinions, and topics are for entertainment purposes and do not expressly represent the opinions of the show's host and or producer. Sit back, relax, and enjoy. And good evening, everybody. Welcome. It is Beaufort County's House of Cards. It's August the 28th. We are done. We are done with August. And I am Mike Covert, your host and producer of the show, coming to you live from the Big Patriot Radio studios in the great state of South Carolina. Got a big show for you tonight, real quick, with some of the housekeeping stuff. Want to thank those folks for tuning in on YouTube and Facebook, and those listening around the world on BigPatriotRadio.com. If you're a first-time listener tonight, welcome in. We're glad to have you. And for those of you that have been around each and every week, we appreciate you. Anyone wanting to help support the show, you see it scrolling there. The information on the bottom of the screen, you can help support the show that way. Let's see, last week, the number one song last week was South Dakota by Chris Stapleton. Bluffton and Beaufort, South Carolina were the number one listening cities. Summerville and Gastonia, North Carolina, and Greenwood, South Carolina, up there in the upstate area, they rounded out the top five.
Everything that rocks is right here. Right here.
Let's rock.
With Big Patriot Radio.
That's what I'm talking about.
We've got a lot of stuff on the board for tonight. Our guests are already in the green room. They're back there waiting on us. We'll get to them here in just a minute. First of all, I want to remind everybody about, you've heard me mention it many times, but I want to mention it again, our new advertiser, new sponsor of the show and the station. They've been all over Big Patriot Radio. You can't go an hour without hearing one of their three commercials. And that is skipsdefuskytees.us. skipsdefuskytees.us. Go check them out at skipsdefuskytees.us. You see the little guy here in the car on the screen. They have an incredible selection of T-shirts. Not only T-shirts, but they also have sweatshirts. They have hoodies. They have long sleeve T-shirts. And something that I found out this week, if you've been on there and you saw that the sizes, I had a couple of people ask about, hey, what about us big boys? Excuse me. They do go up through 5XL. 5XL. So no matter where you are in the scheme of the sizing chart, Skips Defusky Tees can take care of you. And there are shirts with Trump. There are 45, 47 shirts, U.S. militaries, a lot of Americana. A couple of really cool shirts taking pot shots at Iran. I love them. There's shirts with cabinet members like Pete Hegseth, Kristi Noem, again, the B-2 stealth bomber, patriotism, all American made right here on Defusky Island, South Carolina. And hey, the best part about this whole thing, Skips Defusky Tees is pledging to send 80% of their profits from these tees to GOP solid reelection campaigns like the Donald Trump reelection, Win Red fund, as well as hopefully some down ballot races all around South Carolina. So Skips Defusky Tees .us. Check them out. I've had a lot of people call and email about different questions about it. We're going to get one of their shirts on here before long. skipsstefuskytees.us.
Let's go! The station that keeps it rocking 24/7.
Ladies and gentlemen,
BigPatriotRadio.com.
Again, we have a super show for you tonight, and we're going to get right to it. Coming on the screen here in just a second, our guest for tonight. This father and son team is the brains and brawn behind the New America Movement podcast. You can hear it here on Big Patriot Radio twice on Monday nights at 7 o'clock in that hour, and then again in the 9 o'clock hour. They come to you right from Pickens, South Carolina, on the upstate. Again, on Big Patriot Radio, 7 and 9 o'clock. You can check them out also on Spreaker.com and iHeartRadio.com. New America Movement. Please join me in welcoming David and Jordan Cox to the show. Good evening, gentlemen.
What's going on? What's going on?
Good evening. How's things in Buford?
Everything is just lovely down here. It's not sweltering, disgusting armpit hot. It's just
right.
How about you guys? How's everything up there?
Weather's pretty good right now. We've had a couple of 57 mornings, got outside and thought, wow, I need to go back in and get a sweatshirt on. So believe it or not, in August, that's kind of strange, but we're taking it with a lot of love, and we hope that we'll see fall come early this year. So we're excited about a little break in the weather.
Fantastic. I have hearing that you had a morning in the high 50s. A couple of our customers are up there in just north of you, I guess it would be, in like Cashers, and they've had those temperatures and some less. And every time I talk to them, I'm like, I hate you guys.
It's much appreciated, I can tell you. We really, really appreciate that cool morning.
Guys, I appreciate you guys being on here and being a part of Big Patriot Radio. Again, Monday nights, 7 and 9. We had talked about doing this a couple of times. And I know some folks had asked, well, why are you having, why are you having them on, and that's it right there, because some folks don't, when they think about the upstate and they think about the low country, well, there's 3 or 4 hours in between, and, life is different here and there. But I don't know that that's really the truth. That's the whole, the meat of the sandwich. So I wanted to, share some time with you guys, hear about your platform, talk about the things that you talk about in the upstate. And I'm going to bet money that it's probably the same thing, just different cast of characters that we talk about in the low country. But tell us a little bit about the New America Movement.
We're a podcast, been around about 5 years. We enjoy a father and son relationship and being able to talk to people around the country, local politics, state politics. There's always something brewing. The left give us a whole lot to work with, and sometimes the right's pretty good about it too. So we appreciate all the folks out there messing up so we can talk about you. So it's exciting to sit back and laugh and say, he said what? What did they do? And that's just a daily routine in the political world. So it's always exciting to be able to talk to local folks and keep them up to date as to what's happening in our country, around the world. We talk about Israel a lot. We talk about left politics and how crazy things have gotten in this country. We also like to talk about local mayors, city council people, county council people, always something crazy, and I could say even stupid going on from time to time. And so we just like to keep the folks informed on it. This is a local podcast, and we appreciate our listeners tuning into us each week so they can stay apprised as to what's happening around their neighborhoods. Jordan, what do you think?
No, that I would have said the exact same thing. We love doing it. I never really was into politics until this podcast started, and then I started really looking into like local politics and realizing that, wow, this affects us more than even like electing a president, right? Like it just locally, what you can do to change your city, to change the neighborhood you live in, just with good policies, just with good, strong policies. And when you really look at it, when you just break it all down, it is fascinating how, and even now there's more young people that are like, I'm 33. And I mean, I talk to people on the internet all day long or in person that are 20 years old, 18 years old, stuff like that. Like there's a guy running for Liberty City Council up here in the upstate, and he's a year younger than me. He's 32 years old and everything. So we're seeing more young people get into it, which I'm excited about.
Oh, yeah.
But you know, it's definitely something that's brought us great joy. We just had Alan Wilson on he's a candidate running for governor, and stuff like that. He did a great job. So it's brought us a lot of cool things, meeting a lot of cool people through it. So it's definitely brought us some joy for sure.
Awesome.
It's sort of like the new sport in the community. Once you get to our age and you lay basketball down, this is sort of a new way to have a great opportunity to keep the life in you. So we enjoy it. It's a lot of fun, and we just appreciate you having us on your show.
Oh, absolutely. And you know, it's fun watching you guys. And I listen to your podcast every week, and I get more and more feedback from folks. So I especially down here, obviously where I am. And there, you know, you guys are starting, at least since you've been on my station, and I guess it's about a year or more, whatever. But the cast is becoming familiar, and I mean the two of you. And what I mean by that, and I think Jordan, I may have said this to you like in a text or something. People, when I mentioned New American Movement, what the first thing, and it's amazing. The first thing they mention is, what's that guy's name that says, how y'all doing?
How y'all doing out there?
That's right. And I tell you, if you don't say that within a certain amount of time on your weekly show, for whatever reason, I mean, people, I have literally had is that the same guy? The same guy. But, you know, you guys are, you're in the upstate, problems. You know, what is it that, whether it's Pickens County, Anderson County, Oconee, Cherokee, Greenville, Spartanburg, whatever, what are I'm interested to hear, do you have the same problems day in and day out that we do in the Low Country?
I think people are the same everywhere. If you have an event in Columbia, you can't tell the people from Charleston and Beaufort from those from Greenville and Pickens County. So unless you ask them, I think the mentality and the idea about how the world and the country should be run is pretty much the same. You have liberal pockets, and you have very conservative pockets, and you have crazy pockets. What we're seeing today across the country pretty much is what I call mob rule. When you think about people voting, you want everybody to vote. And of course, the left want even the dogs to vote, and the cats and whoever can pull a lever. They're like, let them vote. It doesn't matter. But we've sort of taken that to the point of abuse. I think everybody should vote. The problem of it is I'm seeing a lot of what I call the mob rule mentality, where people are just angry and they just want to replace everything they see. I know there are a lot of bad politics out there. There are a lot of bad leadership. But what's happening is you up here, you have this idea that if you're not 100%er or you're a rhino, you can have great candidates who can do one thing that these far right radicals don't like, and all of a sudden they want to get you out of office. I don't agree with that mentality. I think it's more about a certain group of mob rulers who want to just control the narrative and force people to be under their control. I'm all about the conservative movement. I'm very, very conservative. My son and I, we talk about how to create more conservative policies all the time. So it's not about that, but it's about how things are done sometimes, because it's not always done on the up and up. I think a lot of people use that as a tool to get elected. Then once they're elected, they do what they want to do. We see that in local governor's race, or we see that in mayor's race. We see that in city council races all the time, where people get in power and they flip-flop. They're not what they said they were. Or you got a certain group of people trying to control those people. I hear all the time certain activist groups. Pickens County Republican Party has been the worst about it. And Greenville has had a lot of problems with this. They'll just put anybody in power who they can control, and they'll tell you, we'll get out and help you get elected. And they'll even work the primaries for you, which really is against state party rules, but they don't care. And that's why I say it's sort of a mob rule mentality, where people just say, hey, we're going to do this. It doesn't matter. Because we want to get our guy in. He's a really great candidate. I hear that all the time. Oh, that person's got a lot of character. But when you peel back the onion, they're no different than anybody else. Once they get in office, they're as bad or worse than ones they accuse them of. So that is why I say that we need a lot of a better leadership in terms of knowing what kind of candidates represent us the best. I think sometimes you see people just looking for anybody to run for office against another person. And I see it all the time. You can have a seat that's going to be coming open in a year, and what you hear among the communities, who can we get to run against that guy? Well, let's see who's out there. And it's like they'll take anybody. Just if you're willing to run against this candidate, oh, you're our candidate, and they'll get behind them and door knock, and they'll create a platform for them and tell them what to say. And the people running have no idea what they're doing. And I have seen it countless and countless times over and over. If we ran our corporations in America like that, or our businesses, we'd be bankrupt tomorrow. So I think it's just a lot of people who are very angry and who want control. Politics today have taken a new level of interest because of all the social media. So everybody kind of wants to get involved in it. They want to run for office, whether they have any skill or not. And I see people voting for candidates that I wonder if they can read or write. Have you ever noticed that, Jordan? We've asked that. Can that person sign a check?
Like they're like not even joking.
No, this is serious stuff.
Like for real. Like it's like I'll just say the mayor here in Easley, for example, just doesn't know what she's doing. I mean, she really don't. And she was put here because of the Pickens County Republican Party, and we're, like I said, we're conservatives. We're all Republican. We're all of these things, all of this, blah blah blah. But when it comes down to that, like 100%, like you were talking about, if you don't agree with me on 100% everything, like the sky's blue. Okay, cool. Well, today it's orange. If you tell me it's blue now when it's orange, then now we're not friends no more. Now you're the enemy, right? And so that's where we are now, and that's what sunk the Republican Party here in Pickens. It's gone now. And so,
well, wouldn't you agree today's favorites are tomorrow's enemies?
Well, yes.
And the people they put in who are naive enough to run in these positions get in power, and then what happens?
For instance, like I said, the mayor here in Easley.
Oh, she'll be dog meat in a year or two.
Well, she thought this was going to be they'll turn on her. They will. They just do that. But she thought this was going to be a part-time job. Like that's literally what she was told. Like she was told by elected officials and by the chair of the Republican Party, oh, it's just a part-time gig.
Yeah.
Like running a city isn't a full-time job. It doesn't matter if the title is part-time or not. Getting in there, it's a full-time job. And so it's one of those things where she wasn't ready for it, and it was thrust upon her through people telling her, you can do it, you're going to be great because you make all the cookies and cakes. Like we had a natural disaster that hit up here, and someone asked, well, where's the mayor at? Like we got trees down everywhere. You know, that big storm that hit, like where is the mayor? And she literally comments on there, oh, well, I'm just sitting back making, cookies and stuff. There's nothing really I can do. I'm just falling back.
Well, it's not that people like that are not good people. Those probably are very good people.
Right.
What happens in what I call mob rule,
it's not good politics.
It's where a activist will set afire people in the community and say, if you don't get involved, we're going to lose this republic. And a lot of these people I see coming into the party have good intentions, and they're the kind of people you'd love to have around your house having a meal and going out to eat. You might even want to go on vacation with some of these people, but they get fired up because they watch CNN and Fox News. An activist comes by or a party member and says, hey, we need to get you involved in the party. We got to change this country. And they say, well, what's wrong with it? Let me tell you how bad the mayor is, or let me tell you how bad this city council person is, or let me tell you how bad this county person is. This representative, he's the most evil thing since cotton candy. And so they get them fired up. They come to the party, and all they do is talk about using the word rhino. Well, that's going to make a lot of people upset. Well, if you're very naive in politics and you haven't gotten your sea legs yet, it's easy to get you in a position where you almost get into a frenzy about these political leaders. And I tell people all the time, look, there's no such thing as 100%ers. It would be good if everybody voted absolutely conservative on every single issue, made everybody happy, but that's literally impossible. Absolutely. I tell people all the time, if you can get someone who, what I call the 80-20, you get somebody doing pretty good 80% of the time, 20% of the time, you're not too happy with them. You got to really think about trying to always get those people out of power, because what we see all the time is you can be 100% one day, 99 the next day, and you got a mob coming after you trying to take your seat. Yeah. And what happens is they just go get anybody. They don't care if you're a dog catcher or a cookie maker. You could be bagging groceries down at the Piggly Wiggly or at the Publix. Oh, you would make a great candidate for this office. And when they come in office, then they tell all the radicals, you need to get behind this person. This person knows nothing about politics. What color is Republican Party? That's green. No, it's red. Okay, I learned something. And you're going to run that guy for an office? They have no business background. And that's what we see happening in Greenville County. We see it happening in Spartanburg County. It's happening in Pickens and Anderson and Oconee County. And we have to stop and think, this is not about just a group of people gaining power. It is about what's best for the country, what is best for the citizens. Republics are not perfect. Matter of fact, I tell people all the time, politics are very evil. There's a very dark side to this. And even Winston Churchill said this, and I say this on my podcast a lot. He said a republic is the worst form of government, except all the rest. So, Jordan, am I right or wrong? Have you seen that?
You're absolutely correct. It's shocking to me how people can just turn, on a dime. Yeah. And I'm talking about conservatives, people that you expect to be on your side. Yeah.
We used to say, it was common in the Republican Party that, wow, the Democrats, they eat their own. Well, you better not say that anymore, because we're doing a pretty good job of it.
We love eating our own. Matter of fact, our biggest problems in South Carolina today, at least in the upstate, right here in our county, is conservatives trying to kill conservatives. Oh, yeah. And there's no respect or dignity among other candidates. If it's not your candidate, then this person is the devil. Regardless how hard they've worked to serve, they're just considered the devil. And that's bad. That's bad for the country.
Well, and bringing up the whole Rhino thing, I say this all the time on the show as well, is that's our form of racism, right? Like, oh, you're racist. How many times has the left said that because you just disagreed with, or you're misogynist, you're this, you're transphobic, whatever it is. Like, you've got a label now because you just like today I was talking to this guy, of course, the shooting happened in Minneapolis. God bless those people. And I was talking to this dude about how, I just believe, and this is my personal opinion, that a trans person has a mental illness, because it's been classified that since the beginning of time. It was changed in 2019 by WHO, because the LGBTQ movement, the sex movement, all of that stuff happening. So it went too far left to now say that, like, a man being a woman isn't a mental illness. And so it's like, what are we doing? And so you get these labels thrust on you when you just say, well, wait a minute, this person had a mental illness. And I'm talking about mental illness, not just the fact that he's trans. I'm talking, he has a mental illness. And it's like, oh, well, you're a transphobic. But up here in the upstate, if you just so much as criticize the Republican Party and Pickens, or say you want better, you're a rhino.
Yeah.
Well, it's really it's disheartening for people to get involved in politics and see how abrasive and how abusive a political party can be toward people who they disagree with. So you can have a room full of conservatives, but they're going to pick and choose who they like, who they think they can control. They're not looking for the smartest, the brightest, the ones who can do the best job. That's out. That doesn't even come in play. What they look at is a warm body that they can control. If they think that you will bow down and tie their shoes for them, do what they say, well, that's a good candidate, because we know best. We're God. We know what's best for this country. They don't know. So we're going to use these people as our puppets, get them in office and tell them that if you don't do what we say do, we're going to come against you and primary you and you'll be out of office. And so it's that scare tactic, that control mechanism that we try to put people in office. And I think it's really bad for the county because I see so many people getting elected that I'm telling you, if they can tie their shoes and they can get in a car and drive it to the grocery store, I'd like to see it. I'd like to follow them, and because I just don't know that they can do that because they don't care about ability.
Yeah. You know, the Republican Party and the conservative movement in South Carolina, as an elected official, previously elected official, I was in that where, Group A, thought I was, the devil incarnate, and Group B thought I was, better than sliced bread. One vote, and all of a sudden the roles switched. And very early on as an elected official, I learned that, and finally I tell people to this day, look, if you and I agree on 100% of everything, that's kind of weird.
What could get done?
Weird. What's going to get exactly?
If there's no pushback, like we both are smart. Smart people disagree.
Yeah.
It's literally what makes people grow. And there could be an idea that you have that I didn't think of. And through a disagreement, we find solution.
Well, I call that, the art of collaboration.
Right.
And, I don't care if, Joe Blow is a Democrat and he's sitting across the council table from me. He may be 10 times smarter than me. And, if he's got one thing that I can latch onto that I like for my people, my district, whatever, my state, we're going to roll with it. But, the Conservative Party, back to that. And I'm going to, I don't know how you guys feel about this, but in Greenville County, the MySC GOP group, in my opinion, is a catalyst for the hate that's dividing. And hey, I'm the first one to admit, I bought it for a quick minute. I bought it.
I'm so glad you brought this up. Oh, I'm so glad.
When I finally woke up, I said, you guys are nuttier than a fucking fruitcake.
Dude,
nothing to do with you.
You hit the nail on the head. So I'll put it like this. The MySC GOP, for instance, the head of it, Jeff Davis, we all know who he is. I saw on a post the other day, this guy posted saying that he was at some event with this guy. And Jeff just had to say, hey, that guy's horrible. And then it got on the topic of the Pickens Republican Party getting canned and dismantled for 2 years or whatever they're doing with them.
Right.
And Jeff goes, well, that's been our focus this whole time. Is Pickens. Our focus is Pickens County. Our focus, and I'm sitting here like, you put Bob Federley, the head, in the one that blew the party up in office. So you start the fire, and then you come as the firefighter to try and put it out.
Bingo.
And it's like we see you now, dude. Mm-hmm. Like we see what you do now. Mm-hmm. And now that and I was just telling my dad this other day, nobody believes him up here. Like you may have a couple of people that buy his what he's selling, but like a lot of people have woken up and been like, hey, this, like you said, these people are nutty. These people are crazy. Like they're calling this guy Rhino, but then they'll put a Democrat up for, and it's, and I mean, and it don't make sense. It's just like and it's like I said, they're the party of they'll start a fire and then they'll come be the firemen to try to put out the fire. And it's like, but you are the reason this happened. If you're in Greenville, the biggest Republican party in South Carolina, if I'm not mistaken, you see what's happening in Pickens. You were all for Bob Federley getting the chair up there,
right?
And which was for the Republican Party in Pickens. You should have stepped in a long time ago. If you're the big daddy on the block, why are you not stepping in and saying, hey, like, what are you doing? And here's my thing. If we're going after the quote unquote establishment, you don't think they're going to fight back?
Well, that's the kind of thing that
Like, you don't think they're going to fight back?
That's the kind of thing that
Follow the rules.
I know that bothers me. You have people in Pickens running to control Pickens County Republican Party, and their agenda, number one agenda, is to fight Drew McKissick. It is to get him out of office and put in the person.
We had a
they
guy
want.
on the show that said that.
But here's the
The
issue with
EC, he said that was my goal.
how are you running for office and you want to chop the head off of your leader and you are upset because they cancel you? You're upset because
People want to hear, what are you doing for us?
right. How do you get good leadership elected to represent the people? How do you get qualified people elected? That's the issue. But it's not happening.
As the party, what are you doing? You don't have to agree with Drew McKissick. You don't have to agree with him at all. That's not what
Right.
this is. But what are you doing to get strong candidates?
Can I say something again? I know I'm talking about
Talk about it.
this lady. I'm not going to call her name out. She's running for office as a House rep, and she says, "Well, we don't even need Robert's Rules of Orders to run the party." And you're thinking, "What? What?"
I'll say it's Brandy Tarleton.
You're gonna.
She said we don't need Robert's Rules of Order, and it's then what rules are you going by then?
Yeah, how do you run a business meeting legally without Robert's Rules of Order? And and that's why I'm saying, if you're willing to run, they'll run you, right?
Absolutely.
It's amazing. So, David, obviously we all see what the problem is with the concern. One of the problems. How do we fix this? And is this a generational thing that's going to have to happen? Or what's the step? Obviously, and now I will say this, and I disagree with a lot of what Drew McKissick says, but that's neither here nor there to me. I could care less.
You're going to disagree with the next guy too, by the way. Go ahead,
I do
Jordan.
think he should be stepping in saying, hey, party, let's come together.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I'll let you go in a second. I 100% agree. There should be a leader to step in and say, okay, guys, we first of all, we got all of these people moving to South Carolina from out west and up north. We need to do everything we can to at least not be purple, right? Like let's fight to stay a red state. Let's fight to do this, but to do that, we got to come together. To do that, we have to find common ground, but there's not that one leader willing to do that. And so, but to me, and I'll shoot it to you after this, a solution would be just select good candidates. It's really as simple as just selecting good. And what's a good candidate? A person that can run a balance a checkbook, for instance, a person that has a background in maybe business, knowing how to run a business. And I'm not saying that every single person has to meet a certain qualifications, but it would be nice, to have a list of something up there to be like, hey, like, can you do A, B, C, and D? Because when you ask Bob Fetter, like I said, what has the mayor done that's so great for Easley? He says that she just canceled subscriptions. Like
Wow.
an hour's worth of work, man. And
Wow.
and I'm like, what has happened? And so I'm like, so what are we doing to elect good candidates? Is the head of our party, the head of the South Carolina party, are they getting involved when they see parties crash, when they see parties get ripped apart, when they see people like the MySC GOP come? And that's like I said, if you attack the establishment, prepare for them to fight back.
Absolutely.
And so you have to follow the rules that are laid out. It's like a football game or any other sport you play. There's rules inside of that game. And is there dirty tactics that happen? Absolutely. Does people's eyes get poked? Yes. Do people's shorts get grabbed? Yes. But through all of that, there's rules as well. And so you have to follow a certain set of rules. And to me, you have to just have a leader, somebody to come in and say, hey, guys, this just isn't going to happen under my watch. I'm the head of the Republican Party. We need unity, not division. And anything is possible.
Let me say something to add to that, Jordan. Two things that are a problem in the upstate, and it's pretty much around the country. Number one, politics are very dirty. Most people don't want to run for office, so they've got to be recruited. Most people who are activists recruiting these people are looking for people who don't know anything about politics, who think that if they run for office, nobody's going to mess with them. So they draw them in And then they find out, man, they're going to pull out everything I've ever done, post it, and talk about it publicly. So the ability to find good, fresh leadership is thin because most people don't want their laundry aired. So there's a major attack on that. And secondly, if you're in a local municipal and you're showing up at events the city puts on, and you're kind of cleaning up, sweeping up, bringing a potluck meal. Oh, you know what? That person's role, they'd be the good mayor or they'd be a great city council person. And just because you can make a potluck meal and because you can sweep the floor and show up early and pick up the trash and organize a little bit, doesn't mean you're going to be a good leader. Second problem we have in almost every one of these little powers, you have one person calling the shot and the others are just the lambs doing what this one person says. And it really, really irks me to see how you can have a vote and know that a lot of these people are only voting because one person in that leadership role is manipulating and controlling the majority of those people, and they tell them what they need to do. So that's why they like people who are not very intelligent, or they like people who can't think for themselves, or people who can't cast vision. And they manipulate them and say, hey, you look at this issue. Here's how you need to vote. Here's how you need to vote. And so when that vote is run, you got one person controlling it, and the rest of them saying, well, we're just following our leader. That's not free thinking. That's not how we need to run this country. Right or wrong, Jordan?
You know, when I watch, typically we'll watch several different municipalities meetings or county councils around the state. And whenever I see one, just insert what the vote is for, filling potholes. When it's a unanimous over and over and over and over, like I see it here locally in Bluffton and the town of Hilton Head, that tells me that there's a bad problem because it's already drawn up in the back. Correct. And I agree 100% with you. But let me ask you guys, when you were talking about the Republican Party, and yes, McKissick is the head of the Republican Party. The other head, if you will, even though the job is very weak, one could say that the governor, being a Republican, is also somewhat the head, again, akin to it, of the Republican Party. We have as you well know, we have a wide variety of Republicans running for the gubernatorial nod. Where do you see, if someone in that position is going to be partially the leader, of the Republican movement, where does that align that you see of the 4 or 5 that are out there right now?
I think that you're talking about who's in the lead and who's not.
Based on being a leader for the conservative movement and Republican policies.
Well, one of the things I think that a quality leader must have is be a visionary person. I don't like people who have that retroactive leadership mentality where they do nothing. They just dot the I's and cross the T's, sign a document and move on and say, this is my position. This is what I did for 2 to 4 years. I like people with vision. Now, I think Alan Wilson will be our next governor. That's my prediction. I think it's his to lose. I think Nancy Mace comes in second. Her obviously ability is she's a pretty good orator. She's excellent on camera. She's a great debater. I think there's some issues there that she'll have. I don't think she'll take the upstate at all. She might take some of Columbia in the lower country, but I think she'd be very weak up here. I think Pamela Evatt will carry most of the upstate just behind Alan Wilson. So Ralph Norman, he's a part of the Freedom Caucus. There's a lot of people that don't like the Freedom Caucus. They've taken a major blow with that House rep in Lexington. So I think aligning with that party is going to hurt you a little bit. So I think he's at the bottom of the list. So I think far as ability, I think Alan Wilson will be our next man. I think he's got tremendous ability, and I'd like to see him be the governor. Jordan, what do you think?
I mean, I know I agree. Just on the fact of that, and of course, I know people are going to say, "Oh, well, he's a rhino," stuff like that. I mean, that's what that comes with the territory now. When you're a conservative politician anywhere, like half the people are going to think you're a rhino, other half aren't. But when it comes to just the job, I think he'll be better. I think that Nancy Mace, I like her. I just think it's more of a show. if that makes sense with her, than it is an actual job. And I could be wrong. This is my opinion. I mean, because what kind of threw me with her, and I got to be careful what I say, is that whole Senate floor speech that she gave about, and I know she's been through a lot. I know all of that, but when you say those kinds of things, and I do think one thing kind of poked out about one of the guys that she brought up, but she accused like her husband and her ex-husband and a few other men. And I'm not saying that what she said is a lie. I don't know. I have no clue of what she said is true or not. And that's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Because I reached out to her to come on the show. And I was like, hey, we had on Alan Wilson. We would love to have you on, trying to make it as fair as possible.
Absolutely.
And she just sent back like it was like an automated thing. And man, it's I'll pull it up because I got to read it because it is absolutely amazing to me. So I got sent back pretty much after I invited her on as a guest to say, hey, we had Alan Wilson on all this. I got sent, we're so sorry to hear you're having an issue with a federal agency and need help. This is Congresswoman Nancy Mace's personal and political page, so we are unable to assist you directly with anything related to her official page. If you need assistance from the office, please click on the button below to be redirected. Sincerely, Nancy Mace. Well, I click on contact Rep Mace, and you got to go through a 5-step process. Mm-hmm. And to me as a voter, I don't like that.
Yeah.
I don't like the fact that I have to go through a fight, and I understand, and this is where I think kind of her conspiracy mind goes to, is like, oh well, I'm going to vet out all of the people that hate me, or I'm going to, or something, because the very next thing was, are you voting for me? Yes, no, or I don't know, and so it's just very, and again, this is just my opinion from what I've picked up from just stuff she said and stuff like that. So I think it's more of a show than it is actual, that she is going to make a good governor, if that makes sense. Just because the accusation against Alan Wilson and her statement just doesn't make sense either, because it's like, now you made that statement, then dropped a run for governor against him. So it kind of brings it to, a halt when you're like, oh, I brought this to him, but he didn't do nothing with it. And it's like, but what makes you think he should have, though? Like, I know that sounds harsh, but like, you understand that there's investigations. Like, investigations have to happen, and stuff has to be closed before, and then they have to decide they're going to prosecute. Like, there's steps to this. And like I said, she could have went through every single one of these. I don't know. And that's the problem.
Right. David, Jordan makes some excellent assessments there. I know Nancy personally. I ran against her back, whatever it was, 22 or whatever. And matter off the subject, so to speak. I have her contact where you can get past all that.
That would be great, man. Absolutely.
Yeah, we'd love to have her come on the show.
I would love to talk. She was absolutely
when I sit back and look at it, I agree. I think it's going to end up being a 2-horse race.
Yes.
Wilson and Mace. I mean, I know Ralph Norman. I think he's a great guy. I love talking with him. Mm-hmm. I met him for breakfast at the Capitol Club up in D.C. many years ago. Josh Kimbrell, I know him, but I don't know him well. But I really don't think he has a snowball's chance in hell, because he is unknown from the Midlands to the coast. He is unknown.
Right.
He may get 3%.
I think he'll get that much.
Yeah, he's going to get everybody disgruntled with the top 4.
Yeah.
Well, that was kind of where I was going next. Was that exactly, David? And I want to know your thoughts. How many people in South Carolina are like, you know what? I'm just so sick and tired of the bitching and moaning back and forth and accusatory tone that I'm going to find the one who nobody has talked about, and that's where I'm going to pay attention. Are people getting that way yet?
Well, there's a little bit of naiveness too, because it's like women getting married and thinking that, this woman here I think's better than this woman. Well, you don't really know. Do you marry somebody and live with them? You can't just judge a woman by her clothes. her looks, and just a slight conversation, it could be very different if you marry that person. So I tell people on the political side, when you see a newbie out here who you think, oh, he looks fresh, he looks great, we think he'd be a great leader, you don't really know that. Some of these people that you think coming up around the back are really going to be the better choice, and sometimes they're the worst choice. So bickering, complaining is a part of politics. I say this. You want to live in Venezuela, you want to live in right now the UK where you criticize, you go to jail. We have the right to step on the neck of anybody we want to in this country. And there's not a lot you can do about it, but it's not a bad thing. It's just politics. And I tell people, if you're going to run for office, look, and you can't take a punch, then you don't need to run for office because they're going to come after you. The best way to know if you can survive an election is to get your worst enemy to come to your house and cuss you out for about 30 minutes, 3 inches from your face. And if you can take that, well, then you might could run for office. But if you're very soft-skinned and you start crying and whining and want to punch him, you're not ready for running for office.
See, that's one of the things where I think Nancy Mace loses the men at is where, is she really going to be a great governor, or is she going to be just anti-man? And I'm like, and I know that sounds crazy, but that's kind of where we are with her, just because, like I said, we don't know what's going on right now. And that's why I would love to have her on the show, because she may have an answer to all of this. She may be like, Jordan, A, I'm glad you asked that question. Here's the answer, A. Here's the answer, B. And she may have a legitimate answer. And the problem is that we just don't know. But I think that's one of the problems that I see up here, at least, is people are like, well, I like her, but I don't know if I trust her, or I don't know if I, would put my faith in her for, 4 years or so. Because what I kind of see in her is she kind of wants to be like Trump a little bit and shake things up. And I tell people, there's only one Trump. Like, stop trying to be like Trump. Like, stop doing that. We don't need another mega. We got one. You know what I mean? Like no one's going to be like Trump again. You're not going to elect another Trump. You may get a JD Vance. You may get a Ron DeSantis, but it's not Trump.
A Tim Walsh.
Yeah, right. He can't even run his own dog. He can't even tie his shoes, man. Like, what talking about?
She has said before she is Trump in heels.
Yes, and that's what I'm talking about. Yes, and that's my thing. Don't do that. You will lose so many, because people expect you now to be Trump.
And the thing about people with Trump, too, Trump is a Major League Baseball hitter. I mean, that guy, when he goes up to the plate, he hits a home run almost every single time. And if you try to copy that and you get up to the plate, don't knock a home run, people are going to crucify you.
And how many times have we heard, even from like Mark Burns, for instance, oh, well, Donald Trump endorsed me. It doesn't mean anything to people up here no more. Trump endorsed Lindsey Graham. Ask people in the upstate what they feel about Lindsey Graham.
Exactly.
It is not going to go well. It is not going to go well. And so it's one of those things that, like, when you come up and you make statements like that, I'm Trump in heels. Well, by God, I better see it. Like, I better not like you go to the Senate floor and just blow everybody out of the water with some accusations. I'm talking about I better see it in your actions, in what you do, and in the policies you make. Like, what policies is she really running on for governor? Like education, like what's going on in her head right now? And that's what I just would love to have her on the show for, because I
think that would be one of our viewers, matter of fact, put it up on the screen, chimed in and said, I think she's running too much on being a woman. I agree with that. Nancy has a innate ability to use the situation of the day, no matter what it is, to her advantage.
Very good at that.
It bit her in the ass. Sometimes it has, but she is excellent. And we've had this conversation, and I've told Nancy alone, I said, or privately, you are your biggest fan. We all know that. And it's okay that we know that. And I'm not, embarrassed to say that, but it's true. But I do think that would be a good idea to have her on there. Look at her website. She's pretty detailed, actually, with her plans. And I guess it was the last time I had her on. I
Yeah,
said,
but-
looking at your 5-point plan, I
Right.
mean, it's kind of like saying no new taxes, no more.
Exactly, yeah.
Well, duh.
Right.
Well, it's sort of
What
like
do you-
Ralph Norman's too. I mean, if they're all going to say drain the swamp,
Yeah, like
get rid of the establishment. If I
Yeah.
hear that one more time, these people are the establishment, and they're
Yeah.
saying that. So
yeah, and that's that's just right. I mean, she is her biggest fan, and to an extent we all.
I don't mean that in any
Right.
disparaging way.
No. To an extent, we all are. Like good Lord, you asked me what I think about New American Movement. I'm going to tell you we're the best podcast in the world, right? Like we all have our we're all our biggest fans, and to a certain extent. Hers though comes at a fault, because she makes statements like I'm Trump in heels. Well, Trump changed the climate of the United States of America. Like Trump redefined politics. He wasn't a politician. He was a reality TV star. And he came in and won a presidential election. He has redefined and I'm not talking about just like a Arnold Schwarzenegger type deal in California where he just was a pretty face and everybody knew who he was. And so he got elected and did nothing or had bad policies. He came out, like you said, and started swinging and hitting home runs. Like, we need to close the border.
well,
We
he
need all of
can't, he
this.
can't hardly make a mistake. Look what he did in D.C. There hasn't
he's
been a
good.
murder in D.C. in almost 2 weeks.
He's good at what he does.
And you have a Democrat mayor now there saying he's doing what he said he's going to do.
Absolutely. And that's what I want to see from Nancy now. Because you made that statement, I want to see you change the climate, the political climate for not just women. Like I understand,
For all of South Carolina.
all of South Carolina.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
let me say this too. I think that all the candidates are going to say this. We are for draining the swamp. We are all for cutting the taxes and getting rid of the state tax. I think they're all going to talk about the gambling issue that's taking place in Santee. Are we going to allow that to happen or not? The state's going to be very split on that. I'll guarantee you very few people in the upstate will support that. I think
Right.
you'll have more support in Columbia and lower state than you will up here. Up here, it's not very well seen as a thing that you want to talk about if you're running for office, if you're for that. And the second thing, I think it's going to be the issue with marijuana. So how these candidates maneuver through those two issues alone, I think the marijuana and the gambling will determine how the voters in the upstate vote for them. So it's going to be a tricky question. Even Alan Wilson was a little bit reluctant about getting too deep into this because until this is a little more refined and how they're politically going to move through both sides of this, because even Alan said, look, I got guys that want it and I got guys that don't. I hear people that say it'll be the worst thing for the state. Some say it's going to be the best. And that's on gambling and marijuana both. So South Carolina is at a crossroads on these two issues and these two issues alone. How these guys talk about this and how they seek to resolve it is going to determine their election. My
David,
opinion.
I think, again, we, and ladies and gentlemen, we did not plan this ahead of time. So we're hearing each other for the first, but you're exactly right. And speaking of marijuana, that I have been working with a state senator for years now, helping him with the medicinal end of things when it comes to marijuana. And one of the things I asked him, he's a very, I'm not going to mention his name because I didn't ask permission to do that. But anyway, he's probably the most liked or well-liked senator in the state house. I would bet money. And I asked him, I said, you've been a chief of staff or a governor, you've been a state senator for eons. When are you ready to go ahead and hit the road to the governor's mansion? Said, the upstate won't have me. I'm like, what are you talking about? Medicinal marijuana. He said the upstate will not vote for me. So my question is leading into that, and I've got to take a commercial break here in a second, but I think, and David, your experience may know better, but I think those two subjects can be identified with the word trust. Okay. If we trust who's sitting there, I think things may be easier to be accepted. So it's been an old saying that the people in the upstate don't trust the low country, and the people in the low country don't trust the upstate, and back and forth. Is that still a thing, David, when it comes to politics, or is that 40-year-old mentality that's now gone by?
I think that's gone by. I think people just take it at face value. This is obviously a very Christian, conservative community. Yep. Everything north of Newberry, all the way into Gaffney, almost up into Charlotte. I think that
got a church on every corner.
Yeah, I think those two issues alone are going to be very sensitive to anyone running for office. If you come up here and you start talking about you're for medical marijuana on any level, you're going to have some problems. Yeah. Gambling, I know groups right now, activist groups that are going to burn anybody that says they're for it. So if you're going to win the upstate, you better be.
Which is so crazy to me, though, because do we not play fantasy football? Do we not, so you get what I'm saying? And I know this is a touchy subject for the upstate, but I just say what I say. If you want, you need to look down and say, okay, hey, is this going to benefit South Carolina financially? Is it going to make us more money? Is this going to help us do X, Y, and Z? Look at it on a sheet. And if you say yes to if all of the questions get answered, yes, and maybe one, we don't know, or no, we'll find out. That's a win. To me, that's a win. Go ahead and go do what you need to do. Now, that's an unpopular opinion up here because we're good Lord in the Bible Belt for everybody. And it's just, but my generation, who I'm speaking for now, we don't care where you're from, low country, upstate, whatever. It's just one of those things. And so we just want to know, hey, do you play fantasy football? Do you do this? And so it's like, it's one of those things that I feel like it is a taboo subject here in the upstate, but this is what I tell people. It's going to be legalized anyway.
Yeah.
Do you want the government now to come in and say, this is the deal, go with it? Or do you want to have some regulations to where you can say, we can have kind of a cap on what percentage in marijuana we get? We can kind of regulate some stuff, right? So if we do want to legalize it, there is some regulations we can do or something like that, versus having the government come in and say, okay, now you got to step out of the way. Here it comes. It's all legal. And now instead of a church on every corner, you got a pot shop on every corner. So it's just one of those things to where I feel just like you said, if the person saying it you trust, it changes everything.
I think a lot of people are afraid of having a brick and mortar in Santee Cooper area. I think that's a very poor area. It does need some economic reviving. But I think that the idea of having a center, a building, a complex, people driving down there, spending a night in hotels, getting drunk, I think that's what scares people. I'm not really for gambling, but I do know gambling's everywhere. My God, you can pick up your phone and you can gamble your home away if you want to. So it's going to be a sensitive issue in the upstate. I don't know how it's going to play out, but if I were running for governor, I would not come up to the upstate preaching that. I think it's going to be a problem.
Stick with taxes and fixing roads and stuff like that.
Right.
What's that thing you say, son? What? You're sure going to need it.
Oh, yeah. God bless you if you do, because you sure going to need him.
Right. Guys, let's hold on.
You're going to need his help.
Let's hold on for 1 minute. We're going to pay some bills right here on Big Patriot Radio and Beaufort County's House of Cards. We are live with the New America Movement, Jordan and David Cox from Pickens, South Carolina.
Stefusky Tees is giving you a reason to laugh and a reason to travel. Every shirt you buy is a ticket in the Trump Trip giveaway, where you could win a luxury stay in New York City, Vegas, or Miami. We're talking penthouse suites, spa days, casino chips, and flights for two. And all you had to do was buy a t-shirt. Go to skipstefuskytees.us and grab yours now. The shirts are funny. The prize, it's serious.
Let's go! The station that keeps it rocking 24/7. Ladies and gentlemen, BigPatriotRadio.com.
And once again, we are here with the New America Movement, David and Jordan Cox from Pickens, South Carolina. So, guys, I think to put a bow tie on this, as we are straight up 8 o'clock, I think we can say, if people were wondering, that, in the political scheme of things, the upstate and the low country, we fight the same battles. We have as much corruption here as they do, as you do there, and Ori and Spartanburg and everywhere else. And it's a battle, and it's places like your podcast and mine and a few, very few others that actually shed some light and some objective truth, not subjective truth, but objective truth in reality, and give you your final thoughts.
No, you're absolutely right. It's podcasts that are like what you do, what we do, that are locally, that get the word out to people. And I tell people all the time, like, like they're like, oh, well, for instance, like Alan Wilson came on, he's got views on there that are out of this world. And it's like, where are you going to get door knockers like that for you? Where are you going to get that? So that's why we try to tell everybody, come on the show, let people know you. Let them know who you are. And it's stuff like this to get information out. And like you said, just to tell the truth. And you don't have to agree with everything we say. That's good Lord. It's more fun if you don't, like we get to actually talk and have it's just like you said, if you agree with 100% everything we say, then what are we going to talk about? What's going to happen? So, so it is one of those things I feel like it's important. We got to keep pushing. We got to keep telling the truth. I was listening just real fast to this guy, and he was talking to Drew Barrymore, and he was like, I believe it was Bill Maher, and believe it or not. And she was like, oh, I don't believe the truth. There's the truth. I believe there's your truth. And that's one thing we got to stop. Like, we got to stop talking about these little subliminal things. There's the truth and only the truth. Right. And we have to talk about it. And that's what we do on New American Movement. That's what you do on the House of Cards. And we appreciate it. And just thank you for having us on, man. It's been amazing. Thank you.
Man, it's awesome. You guys are awesome. Again, you can listen to the New American Movement, iHeartRadio, Spreaker.com, all over the internet, their own website, or you can catch it on Monday nights at 7 and 9 o'clock at BigPatriotRadio.com. David, Jordan, guys, I really appreciate you coming on, and don't be a stranger. Hopefully we'll have you on here again.
Absolutely. We'd love to.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys. David and Jordan Cox, everybody. All right. It is about 5 after here on Beaufort County's House of Cards and Big Patriot Radio. We have another guest coming on here shortly. But first,
all the wickedness and filth this world has to offer.
Rock music that shatters your bones. Big Patriot Radio.
That's some serious rock.
And you're responsible.
All right. And again, let's do a couple of things. Poof. We're waiting on our next guest to come on. And real quick, while we're doing that, I found a story, and I'm surprised that I didn't really. What's the word I want to know? I want to hear. I'm surprised I didn't hear this for myself. But I'll tell you a little story that happened out of Beaufort. Like I said, our guest is in the green room right now, and we're going to get to her in 1 second. Ms. Mulligan, just hang tight. We'll be right there. But recently, excuse me, and this has been reported by a couple of places. There was a live microphone recently at a Beaufort County Council meeting, and this live mic caught a couple of conversations between former Chairman Joe Passament and former Vice Chair Larry McEllen. Now, I'm just going by what the journalist who wrote this, and it's out on the AP. It's all over the wire. So apparently the conversation, which, again, live mic catching a conversation usually means that conversation wasn't meant for me and you to hear it. Anyway, the conversation kind of shared their personal thoughts on Beaufort County's struggle with housing. And I believe that's referred, or I think they mean by that is the county government's struggle with affordable housing, development and efficiency in government, etc. In the article, they mentioned that there is a recording, a video and audio, and since then, the county has removed that from the Beaufort County channel that you can see all their meetings on YouTube. Anyway, interesting that they're not that transparent. They just removed it. Anyhow, some of their conversation, let's go through this, was talking about in between meetings. There was tax software that was being debated, and whether the auditor and the assessor voted for brand X, and the treasurer didn't vote at all because she wanted brand Y, and nobody could get together. So after all that, Larry McKellen was quoted as saying, "I keep saying that a lot of these things need to be discussed privately," McKellen said. Further, he said, "To keep a meeting going like this on and on when it's just an internal matter that's being handled, I don't get it." Passament quipped back saying, "Why did it take 18 months to get to this point?" The problem with that whole thing is, transparency does not equal Beaufort County in the equation over the last several years. Nobody can deny that. I mean, that is a fair and accurate statement. And here we have a county council member telling another that this needs to be discussed privately. It doesn't need to be going on in the public's face. Yes, it does. That's where it's supposed to be happening. They went on to talk about some development issues. McKellen went on to say that he had a concern that the county would start losing some properties if the development agreements were not more efficient. Not really clear where that was going. However, recently, Beaufort County went into negotiations with the developers of Pine Island over in St. Helena and Ramsey Farms development by, I think that's a Pulte home, also in northern Beaufort County. Those have been some talked about developments. Now, I'm not going to go into the number of units that had to be workforce housing, blah, 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 10 of the 244. McKellen said these conditions were unreasonable, talking about down payments, all of the workforce housing things. He said, quote, "The upzoning is incredible. The density increase is remarkable. 10 units out of 244 is stupid. The AMI is stupid. It's almost like who's negotiating this stuff," end quote. Again, Larry, that's probably not something you need to make sure your daggum microphone is turned off if that's how you feel. But the rules are written that it is 10 units out of 244. They approved it here, but they would not approve it for the disabled first responders and military in Okatee. Interesting. Just passing that along. There's more to it. You can check it out on newsbreak.com and or you can go to the Island Packet. All right. I want to bring our guest on. I don't see your camera. Is your camera on? Let's see if I can reach her. Is your camera ready? We'll get her to turn her camera on and bring her onto the stage. Pervasia, are you there?
I am, Mike. I'm sorry. Give me just a second. I'm having some difficulties with my camera.
No problem. No problem. Again, it is 10 after 8 here on Beaufort County's House of Cards and BigPatriotRadio.com. Really want to appreciate and thank again the guys from New American Movement, David and Jordan Cox, up there in the upstate, Pickens County. Beautiful place, Pickens County, for coming on earlier. And as you can see, we all have, no matter where we are in this state, we are running into the same things here and there. And I can tell you that, hey, there she is. Hi, Ervasia.
Hi, Mike.
So, but yeah, we'll talk more about that in a second. So, Ervasia, I appreciate you coming on here. We talked before, just to give some folks some background on where we are, and I'll turn it over to you. I met Ervasia. How long ago was it? Was it like January?
Yeah, it was at the beginning of the year.
Okay. Doing some work with another researcher and stuff having to do with a double murder trial that has never started in Beaufort County. One of the victims that was your sister,
yes,
correct? And the person accused has been sitting in jail for like 2.5 years or so, and which is, we've heard, and I think people will probably remember this. There was, he was not medically able to do it, and all kind of hiccups and excuses. But Ervasia has some news as of late, and I haven't told anybody since you and I've talked. But go ahead, tell us where this case is against Deontay Mitchell.
Yes, Mike, thank you. So the case is almost 4 years old. The case actually happened in December of 2021. I was just notified today that the case has actually been transferred from Beaufort County to Spartanburg County, and that is the 7th Circuit Solicitor's Office. I haven't received a whole lot of information as to why. I've been told that there is some kind of conflict of interest. I actually just sent an email over to the 14th Solicitor's Office requesting that my family be informed of everything that is going on right now. Our victims' rights has completely been violated. I've never experienced it. It's actually kind of crazy. So we're trying to get down to the bottom of it, but it's been a struggle. It's been a struggle emotionally. It's been a struggle with Beaufort County. They haven't done a good job of advocating for my family at all. So we're definitely in for a legal fight, but whatever we have to do to make sure that justice is brought forth for the situation.
So, again, I forgot. You're right. It was 2021 when the alleged, I guess they're a perpetrator, Deontay Mitchell, was the offender in a double murder up in northern Beaufort County. Why do you know why they took it out of the 14th Circuit where we are and sent it to the 7th Circuit? I mean, that's 4 hours away and as far away as you could get. Why do we know anything? Why?
Well, allegedly, Sheriff Tanner is the father of the accused defendant. We had a meeting with the 14th Circuit Solicitor's Office at the beginning of the year, and we just kind of raised some red flags, based off of what we was hearing in the community, why the trial and everything has been going so slow. I just want to remind you that at the beginning of this case, Deontay did not initially get charged when the situation happened. He got charged maybe towards the end of the month. And by the time they went to look for him, he was on the run.
Yeah.
He magically appeared back once the election and everything was over, and I'm going to say magically appeared back.
Sure.
After that, we had a court appearance, and he was actually given a bond on a double murder. He was actually given a $250,000 bond. He was bonded out and released by an unnamed attorney. And after he was released, he violated again. So now he's sitting for bond revocation, I believe the charge is.
Okay.
But yeah, it's been a lot of, hoops and all kind of craziness going on. I'm not sure, but
yeah. And now
right
you all
now,
have. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Right now, as far as I know, the case will be tried in Spartanburg, which means that we're kind of back to square one. He has to find another attorney who's gonna be willing to come to Spartanburg and try the case. They also have to get the new solicitor up to speed on the case. So who knows now when the case will be going to trial.
So I want to make sure that we're all perfectly clear on this. You do have a victim's advocate from the 14th Solicitor's Court, but does that mean you get a new one in the 7th Circuit, or how does that work?
So we had a victim's advocate for the 14th Solicitor's Office.
Did they do anything for you?
Michelle Frazier was our victim's advocate. She did nothing. I actually had to contact her this morning because I was made aware that the case was transferred. Mm-hmm. And she pretty much told me that I should have been notified by the 7th Circuit that they received the case. Basically, she doesn't feel like she should have notified us that the case was transferred. And again, this is somebody who is advocating for us. So
supposed to be on your side.
Exactly.
So, for lack of better words, that she's your eyes and ears inside the 14th Circuit. I'm not asking if you are, but I'm just going to say this. Assuming either you are made out of a mountain of money, this is going to be expensive. I mean, you've either got to stay up there. I doubt very seriously this would be like a one-day trial. I mean, I would think it would go on for a little bit. So, I mean, You've got to take time out of work, your mom and the rest of the family. You got to go to Spartanburg and, stay, eat. I mean, the whole thing. Is there any recourse that the 7th District now, I guess, can help you?
So the question still rises because I was told that the case has been transferred since June the 3rd. Keep in mind, we're going into September. Yeah. I have not heard from the 7th Circuit Solicitor's Office either. So I'm not sure what their plans are, if they plan on giving us the resources. I plan to contact them in the morning, actually, just to see if I could get some more information. But as far as I know, we're kind of just in a standstill of no information right now.
I know I haven't asked you, and I can't remember if I asked your mom, but one of the problems in these trials that go on and on and on is people tend to forget.
Right.
Some people die. It happens. Mm-hmm. I don't know if there are any or many people who would be a witness, but the longer this goes, the less the recollection is going to be there. Have you all thought about that and expressed that to attorneys, whether it's the solicitor's office or whomever, that this might not be fair because this is going on too long, and I'm sure there's some kind of legal jargon behind all that?
Yes, we have expressed it to the courts many times, but the defendant in the case is using every kind of textbook tactic there is. I would say that somebody was coaching him if I didn't know any better, but he's been sick a few times. He's been hospitalized a few times. He's fired attorneys a few times, so it's kind of like we have rights, but he also has rights is what we are being told every time we bring the issue forth. So,
yeah, obviously, I believe you're innocent until proven guilty, but there are times, Ervasia, where, and this is one of them, where I just go, something is not right. This does not smell good. Wow. It
definitely does not feel good, and it does put, a financial burden on my family because regardless of if we had the financial resources or not, I feel like it's an inconvenience to us, The case
Slightly.
is here. Our community is here. A lot of supporters
Yeah.
is here. You know, so I feel like
Yeah.
it kind of inconveniences a lot of things.
Now, is this fellow, is he still in jail in Beaufort, or did they send him to Spartanburg, or how does that work? Or you may not even know that yet.
So I sent an email to Michelle Frazier. It's crazy that you asked, because I actually asked her those same questions. You know, my questions are, is he going to be transferred to Spartanburg? Is this going to now delay the trial? You know, what's going to happen from here? Do we have to wait for him to get an attorney? Are y'all giving him a certain amount of time? Like I said, we haven't been getting any information. So I feel like now I have to formally request the information.
Yeah.
In hopes that we receive something. But as far as I know, he's still sitting in Beaufort County.
Does the family have an attorney? I mean, if you don't mind me asking.
We have not obtained an attorney yet, only because up until this point, you know, we felt as if they were really, you know, supposed to be on our side.
Yeah.
But it seemed like a lot of things are kind of just going the opposite direction. And it does make you feel uneasy, you know, or it makes you feel like we're not being treated fair. This trial may not be being treated fairly. So we would have to obtain an attorney and definitely start to look into some legal services.
You know, I agree that, first of all, you shouldn't have to have an attorney. I mean, you shouldn't have to. You're not on trial.
Exactly.
You know that. I mean, that's the first thing. The second thing is, you hit the nail on the head, as they say. Unless somebody in the family is a lawyer, you need somebody that has your best interest and your sister's best interests at heart to say, yes, this was a fair trial. Whatever the outcome is, it was a fair trial, and we move on.
Right.
I don't know. And I'm not putting myself in your shoes, because I can't do that. But trying to, I don't know that I could sit there in where you are right now and say, man, I feel so confident that my sister's going to get treated properly. I don't know that I can say that.
I feel like, Mike, you know, I can't say that, and it's sad. It's very disgraceful, because my sister leaves behind 2 children. You know, my niece is in middle school. She'll be going to high school next year, and my nephew is in 2nd grade. You know, they were 4 and 9 when this situation happened. So as they get older, they want answers. They want justice. And it's hard to be able to say that we don't have any answers for them. You know, this is their mom. So they deserve some kind of help, some kind of closure. And if you ask me, you know, it's like the defendant is getting more help than we're getting. And it's sad.
I understand. I understand. And, you know, what's the old saying? You know, right is right until it's not. And
exactly.
I don't know. I just, you know, I feel so bad for you guys and your family and those 2 little children who, like you said, they just want to know what happened.
Exactly.
You know, and I don't know how you all handle that. I really don't. How's your mom? How is Miss Sherry?
My mom is hanging on. She's doing good. I've kind of tried to take this off of her. It gives her real bad anxiety, you know, as it should. You know, you want justice for your child. It's going on 4 years. It's kind of crazy. So I do whatever I can to kind of alleviate the pressure off of her, but she's pushing forward.
Yeah, good. Give her my best. And you are a saint for stepping in and taking the lead, you know, for the family, as I view it, to try to run this ball down the field, as they say. And we're going to be hanging in there with you and paying attention to this. And we want justice to be served, whatever the outcome is, as long as it's fair and just, and the memory of your sister can live on forever. The family gets closure, and your sister, she needs peace too.
Thank you, Mike. And thank you for your support. Thank you for bringing me on the show. And I just want to thank everybody watching. I want us to continue to get this support, because it's my family today. It could be your family tomorrow, you know, and this is our community. These are the people that we pay our tax dollars for. They should be working for us and making sure that we feel secure and protected in our community. So
That's right.
Thank you so much.
All right, Hervasia. Have a good evening. Thank you so much for coming on.
You too. Thank you.
All right. All right. It is 8:26. Again, I want to I had two more stories actually, but we are out of time. StreamYard is telling me you got to go, big boy. Tune in next week. Same time, same channel. 7 p.m. on Facebook, YouTube, and BigPatriotRadio.com. We have a lot of stuff coming down the pike. We'll see what happens for maybe these two stories that I couldn't get to. We'll get those ahead of time. Again, I want to thank David and Jordan Cox of New American Movement for coming on. You can check them out on Mondays at 7 and 9 p.m. right here on BigPatriotRadio.com. We've got podcasts, don't forget, on Saturday. That's Ann Uvelis and the the Southern Sense radio show at 7 o'clock, and Sunday, 7 o'clock, Culture Crossroads with Andrew Southwick and BEKTV. Those are right here, and we are in the works of another brand new podcast. Hopefully that'll be on Wednesdays. Stay tuned for that. We're working behind the scenes, trying to get that together. Don't forget, we're trying to get 2,500 stars each and every time we are on the air. So love to have that help. That's support of the show. So anyway, until next week, this is Mike Cover for Big Patriot Radio and Beaufort County's House of Cards. Be sure to check back in with us, and we'll see you next week.